How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
is the end. There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? Oh, I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you seen the
Please.
work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent 200.
Literally,
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because
Yeah.
I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah.
But
Please.
Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
I watch these streams, and I've been watching a self-professed fascist named Karlyn, who drinks and basically roasts these live streams. But weirdly, she has apparently embedded herself with Antifa before, and so it's such a funny stream because
So they tolerate her?
oh no, not anymore. She no. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's trolling or not, but on her stream, she's like, I am a fascist.
Right.
So she's proudly proclaiming she's a fascist. I don't know how much of that is trolling, how much of it is real, but conservatives who are drawn to her stream will say things like, these people are funded by George Soros. And it's the funniest thing because she gets so mad. And she's like, get off fucking Fox News. Stop watching that shit. It's all wrong. Do these people look funded? Do these people look like they have money? They're not funded. It's so, and I guess her bigger point is by saying these are funded agitators and not saying what they actually are, which is anti-capitalist revolutionaries, you dilute what's really happening. Because what's really happening, according to her, and I think a fair amount of people, is that the economy is so fucked. The middle class is diminishing so much. The cost of living is so high that this is the perfect soil you need if you wanted communism to grow anywhere.
And I've learned a lot from Karlyn Borysenko, who goes in undercover with the left. And I've figured out from looking at her work, like when I first saw her stuff, I was like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. I need to like connect with her. And she actually, the first time I got assaulted in 2025, followed me and sent me messages, and she checked on me for months, just privately. It was so nice to have somebody like, are you okay? But I could tell she knew what she was talking about, and I subscribe to her. I look at all her stuff. I've learned so much, and I thought I knew a lot. I've learned so much.
What's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? Who's ready for Abortion Tuesday? Who's ready for Abortion Tuesday? Has anyone been hoping that we would do a stream about abortion? We haven't talked about abortion in a while. And, you know, part of the reason, honestly, there's been so much crazy shit to cover that, like, I try to do a well-rounded coverage of the left, but there's just so much crazy shit to cover that sometimes we have to put some things aside. And abortion on the left is integral to queer ideology. It is integral to the abolition of the gender binary. It is integral to transing the kids because they treat abortion and transing the kids as the same issue. But it's also kind of like, although abortion is central to so many of the crazy things the leftists want to do, it's also kind of its own category. The people who are doing pro-abortion organizing are they're kind of siloed in many respects. Like, they do integrate with the other left. They absolutely do. But it's also just like the people who are the pro-abortion people get so obsessed with the pro-abortion stuff that it's all that they do. And so it's kind of like this weird little ecosystem within an ecosystem where there's always all sorts of crazy pro-abortion shit going on, but it kind of exists. Like, you have to go look for it. You're not just going to find it usually around like other leftist topics unless you're proactively looking for it. But once you find out how to search for it and what groups are involved and stuff like that. And by the way, the left calls it reproductive justice. They don't call it pro-abortion. They call it reproductive justice. So that's the terminology you have to use, reproductive justice. Once you know their terminology and once you know the groups involved, there's so much crazy abortion shit out there. Like, for example, was anyone around years ago when the Roe v. Wade draft decision got released? What was this, like 2022 or something? This was like 4 fucking years ago. The Roe v. Wade draft decision got released. I said, oh, the right is really fucked now for poking the abortion bear. And the right said, Karlyn, fuck you. You just want to kill all your kids. No one cares about abortion. This isn't going to impact us in the midterms at all. And I kept trying to tell the right, I was like, you are going to get fucking slaughtered in the midterms for engaging in the abortion discussion at all. And the right's like, fuck you, you're a leftist that want to kill all your kids. Yeah, we won, you lost, fuck you. And this was the conversation going on the right for months, okay? Couple interesting things happened. Number one, I was completely right because on the night of the 2022 midterms, the Republicans got absolutely fucking slaughtered because the left raised so much money from the Roe v. Wade decision getting overturned that the Republicans wanted a red wave. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great, red wave, here we come. They got fucking slaughtered in the 2022 midterms, and it turns out I was right all along, and every single conservative who called me a leftist who just wanted to abort my kids, like, they were all fucking wrong, and none of them ever fucking apologized. Abortion is a central issue to the left. It is never something they're giving up because it liberates them from the gender binary being a social construct created by capitalism. It also impacts the nuclear family, which of course they want to abolish because the nuclear family is the reproduction mechanism of capitalism, according to the left. So I was completely right, and conservatives were completely wrong. And had they listened to me, maybe they wouldn't have gotten slaughtered in the 2022 midterms, but that was 4 years ago, and they still haven't learned a fucking thing. But another thing happened on the day that the Roe v. Wade draft decision got released, which was we actually watched a presentation from the University of California at Berkeley. Does anyone remember this? On literally the day the Roe v. Wade draft decision got released, we watched a presentation from the University of California, Berkeley, where pro-abortion people were literally saying, we already have plans to smuggle abortion pills into places where abortion gets banned. So I want to use this to demonstrate how far ahead of the right that the left is, in that they weren't even like, look, of course they're going to raise money on the abortion issue. Of course that's going to happen. Of course they're going to utilize people's love of abortion to drive whatever political numbers they can. Of course they're going to do that. But the left wasn't even concerned about the Roe v. Wade draft decision in the way that the right thought that they were, because the left had already been building mechanisms to smuggle abortion pills into states where abortion would be banned. They were planning for years ahead of time to do this. And the reason we found out about it is we literally watched a presentation from the University of California, Berkeley, in which they were talking about it openly. If you don't believe me, you can go back and fucking find it on the channel. It was 4 years ago. I've been doing this shit a long fucking time. The first event that I ever went undercover at was a far left reproductive justice event, pro-abortion conference at Hampshire College. It is called the Collective Power Conference. It still exists today. The first time I was ever undercover with the left, I saw a literal abortion shrine in person. These things do actually exist. I covered it on my Substack at the time. You can go back and find it. Just Google, search for the abortion doulas on the Substack. It'll come right up. The abortion shrine was something else, man. Basically what happened is I went on this tour of how to have a self-managed abortion at this conference that I was undercover at. And they basically took over the faculty lounge at Hampshire College. And they created a whole bunch of stations to teach people how to have a self-managed abortion, a DIY abortion in your own home, taking pills. And so you basically went around to all the different stations, including the bathroom, where they recommended you get an abortion doula to hold your hand as you are bleeding your unborn child out into the toilet. And apparently there's a lot of blood involved, and apparently a body part or two as well. And I know this because they literally told me this when I asked them. And then after you bleed your unborn child out into the toilet, you go and you worship at the abortion shrine. I saw an actual physical abortion shrine in which they had all sorts of spiritual stuff about liberating women from the oppressive system and loving yourself. And people asked me, they were like, Karlyn, are they praying for the soul of the dead child? And I said, no, they're worshiping themselves. Literally, if you look at the things on the altar of the abortion shrine, it is about self-worship. It is not about blessing the soul of the child that you have just aborted. It's all about self-worship. Again, you can go find the pictures on my Substack. It was my first time undercover with the left was a very eye-opening experience for me. I'll just say that. And although to this day, I am pro-choice because I believe that more men will get falsely accused of rape if abortion is totally criminalized. And I don't want men to get falsely accused of rape. And I think that if you saw abortion be completely criminalized, except for exceptions like rape, incest, life of the mother, stuff like that, you would instantly have so many fucking men being falsely accused of rape. And that's a whole other problem. And I believe that women should always have a choice when they weren't given a choice when that happened. And as a woman who has been raped when I was younger, like, That is actually very important to me. And if you try to proselytize to me out of it, or you try to tell me I'm a baby killer or anything like that because I'm pro-choice, fuck you. I will permanently ban you from my channel and I won't feel bad about it, because you need to learn to keep your fucking emotions under check. But in general, have I ever had an abortion? No. In general, would I get an abortion if I became pregnant? I mean, let's knock on wood that doesn't fucking happen. But like, no, I would not. I would have I would begrudgingly have the child. So I'm not myself pro-abortion. I think women using abortion as birth control is sick and fucking twisted. I had a lot of sex before I got married. I've had a lot of sex since I got married too. But with a limit, with one person, not with a whole bunch of people. I had a whole fuck ton of sex before I got married with a bunch of different people, and I don't regret any of it, and I don't give a fuck. I had a great fucking time in my 20s, okay? I had a great fucking time in my 20s. But the reason I say this is because, like, I somehow managed to have a whole ton of sex in my 20s with a whole bunch of different people, and I never got pregnant. Do you want to know why? Because I used birth control and condoms. It is not difficult to not get pregnant if you don't want to get pregnant. And so these fucking women who use abortion as birth control, that's sick and disgusting. And when I've been around these people in person, it is truly like, when I went on that tour of how to have a self-managed abortion, it was a sickening experience for me. It really was. It was like, oh my God, this is gross and toxic and fucking twisted. And by the end of that self-managed abortion thing, I had to basically run and get the fuck out of there. I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I have reached my limit with the abortion bullshit. Like, I find the whole discussion to be nauseating, is probably the best word for it. So while I am pro-choice, because I do believe women should always have a choice, and I don't want men being falsely accused of rape for women who regret having sex and couldn't figure out how to not get pregnant, which would absolutely happen, I am not pro-abortion by any fucking means. And these people with the reproductive justice stuff, it gets very sick and twisted sometimes, which is probably why I don't cover it as much as I cover other topics. Let me do a quick pause because we got some channel memberships coming in. We got Old Sub starting us off with the dub, 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much, Old Sub. We got John in with the dub. Thank you, John, for your ongoing support. Appreciate it, bro. We got Red Menace Guru in with 5 channel memberships. W's to you, my friend. Appreciate all the support. And we got JV the Great with a couple super stickers. Appreciate that very much, my friend. Thank you for funding the stream, guys. As a reminder, I am 100% completely funded by you. I do not take political money. I have no political masters. My only job is to show up and to show you guys the primary source receipts and to tell you the truth. And if you appreciate what I'm doing, you can show that appreciation by donating some channel memberships to the stream to get people supporter perks like access to Spy Stream, the supporter Discord, stuff like that. I just think donating channel memberships is a really nice thing to do, because not only do you fund the stream, you also support other people in the community. Not everyone can afford to pay me money. Sad but true. So for the people who can afford to fund my work, I really like it when people donate channel memberships. That's a great way to do it because other people benefit from that donation, not just me. You can also, of course, send in super chats. If you don't want to fund on YouTube, that's totally fine. You can subscribe on Substack. You can buy my merch. You can, by the way, Rumble, you can send in channel memberships and super chats to Rumble. Just reminding you, Rumble. Okay. But I do really like the community that the channel memberships give out, because I feel like it's everyone helping everyone else. And, you know, of course you're funding my work, but you're also giving a gift to someone else. And I really like that. So if we can get over 100 channel memberships today, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Only retards and faggots like James Lindsay. Only retards, faggots, and know-nothings who listen to too much conservative media like James Lindsay. So I'm just saying. Anyway, so with that preface, originally, we are going to watch this presentation today. And I am still interested in going back and watching this presentation at some point. This is on the YouTube channel of a socialist queer bookstore in North Carolina called Firestorm Co-op. Firestorm Co-op hosts a lot of events and discussions at their bookstore, and they record them and put them on the internet. And this one, well, not if you like James Lindsay. So now you're getting put in a timeout because we need you to stop talking, okay? This is a recent discussion that they held called Don't Breed on Me, a short history of abortion. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds interesting. But then I started doing some searching. Then I was like, what other reproductive justice stuff has come up lately? Because I haven't really been looking at the abortion stuff lately. I haven't. And I started doing some searching. And I found out there is an entire YouTube channel now dedicated to building technology to support abortion. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? They're building technology to support abortion. Of course, the right has no idea this is happening. But then I read in the description, this is really, really interesting. This is the description of this presentation. In this conversation from June 2026, we explore what it means to build technology that protects reproductive freedom as the legal ground keeps shifting and what's at stake when digital infrastructure becomes the last line of defense of abortion access. But listen to what it says next. In the first half of 2025, 27% of all abortions in the U.S. healthcare system were provided via telehealth. 27% of abortions are being prescribed over the fucking internet. Can we just and that means the abortion pills can go anywhere, guys. The abortion pills for people that have the abortion can get easily smuggled in the mail into any fucking state. And apparently this is so fucking widespread on the left that as of last year, not even this year, last year, these are not Democrats, and we do not use retarded conservative bullshit terms. Do not say that again in my chat. These are not fucking Democrats. Smarten the fuck up. As of last year, 27% of abortions are happening because someone gets on a fucking Zoom call with an abortion provider and gets an abortion pill prescription. That's fucking wild. A number that makes clear abortion access is now as much a technology justice issue as a legal one. So this is a presentation about how the left is literally building technology to make sure all of their abortions up until birth on demand are protected. And I'm going to bet that they're doing this regardless of the laws in the state, because the central issue of this is the abortion pill, which can easily get smuggled everywhere. And the left has been figuring out how to do that shit for years. So I thought we'd watch this. But I also found something else. Look at this presentation. Regressive gender roles in the authoritarian era. That also sounds really good. And this is on a YouTube channel called Reproductive, another abortion justice YouTube channel. And look, they've got all sorts of good stuff. On this channel. Nonviolent communication and de-escalation tactics. The fight for abortion rights in the states. Who is Students for Life of America? Trump is anti-abortion, his second term agenda. They got all sorts of good pro-abortion stuff on this channel. So maybe we'll come back to this one another day. Maybe we'll come back to this one another day. Maybe we'll even do it tomorrow. Who the fuck knows? But we are going to be focusing on this one today, guys, because I'm just most interested in this. What the fuck is the left building to facilitate abortion access? And why does no one on the right know about this? Why do none of these pro-life organizations know about this? Do any of the right-wing pro-life organizations have any fucking idea that the left has completely obfuscated their repeal of Roe v. Wade via the abortion pill, and that they are literally right now building technology to continue to get abortions to as many fucking people as possible? Does the right have any fucking clue about this? I'm not a pro-life activist. Why isn't the right monitoring this? Because there's some lazy motherfuckers. That's why. Because they are lazy fuckers who are going to let the left walk all over them because we won. Roe v. Wade got repealed. We won. Donald Trump is president. We won. And the left just keeps marching on. So we're going to watch this presentation today and we're going to talk about it. Before we get into that, can I have a point of personal privilege? Can I have a point of personal privilege? One in the chat if I can have a point of personal privilege. Two in the chat if you say no, Karlyn, you can't have a point of personal privilege on your own stream. Also, what is this a documentary thing? What's that? I'm going to put that up on the watch later tab. What the fuck is that about? Is that a diet documentary or is that like a fat liberation documentary? I don't know. Speaking of fat, we have a 500 stalker. We have a 500-pound fat ass stalker update. Because this shit is so fucking funny, I have to show it to you guys. This shit is so fucking funny. I have to show this to you. I fucking have to. It's the law. It's the law of the internet. We have to laugh at this dumb bitch. So for people who are new, and we'll get to the real meat of the presentation in like 5 minutes. Don't worry about it. This is a psychotic person who has been stalking me for 6 years. This person actively participated in a gang stalking campaign against me. This person continues to stalk me to this day because she is obsessed with me. She watches all my streams from start to finish. She probably watches more of my content than you guys do because this monstrosity blob of a garbage human being is obsessed with everything I say and everything I do. And she posts about me on her Twitter all the fucking time. Posts about me on her Twitter all the time. You can see I'm her pinned tweet right now because, side note, Carrie Smith is getting fucking fat. Carrie Smith is the woman who led the gang stalking campaign against me for years. You don't know how often I had to hear about my weight from Carrie Smith and all of Carrie Smith's toxic fucking friends. And now years later, the bitch who was one of the leaders of the gang stalking campaign against me for literally fucking years is gaining weight and getting fat. Oh no, Carrie. Oh no. Oh no. I can already tell just by looking at these pictures where Carrie is trying to cover up the fat. I know the fucking tricks to doing this, okay? I was bigger for a long ass time. I know the tricks of the baggy clothes and the cold shoulder things and the things you wear over the t-shirt to make it look like I know all the fucking tricks. Carrie is doing all the fucking tricks. She is getting fat. And I'm just here cheering for her to eat more. Because if this dumb bitch, after gang stalking me for years, thinks I'm not going to take advantage of every fucking opportunity to drag her ass now that she's gaining weight like a fucking helium balloon getting blown up, Sucks to suck, Carrie. I will be just as gracious to you as you and your friends were to me, as you led a gang stalking campaign to try to get me to fucking kill myself for 2 straight years of my fucking life. Uh-oh. But that's not what I want to show you guys. That's not what I want to show you guys. So last night on Twitter, I posted this very hot picture of myself where I look really thin and my boobs look awesome. And because I just did. Because I like to remind people of how good my boobs look now that I've lost weight. Because they look fucking awesome. And it's a good fucking picture, okay? Whatever. And a lot of people like the picture. Well. The 500-pound behemoth stalker shut-in that doesn't leave her house because she's obsessed with me, she did not like the picture. And I think that we can all imagine why, perhaps, she doesn't like the picture. I think that we might be able to surmise why she doesn't like the picture of me looking really thin and my tits looking really great. Okay? And she posted a whole fucking post about how much she doesn't care that I'm thin and my tits look great. She made a whole fucking post. Oh no. I have a lot of loose skin? I do, huh? You think so? You think I have a lot of loose skin? Let's just fact check this, bro. Let's fact check this real quick. Let's fact check this from a picture I posted earlier today, shall we? Let's fact check this from a picture I posted earlier today. Oh, I have a lot of loose skin, you say. Oh, I do? I do, huh? I do? I have a lot of loose skin? Where is it? Oh, wait, I totally misread that, bro. I am so sorry. I was so used to people coming in and trolling me that I misread that. Okay, but I don't have a lot of loose skin. But okay, so I am sorry, my friend. I am sorry. I almost banned you, but I would have brought you back. The chat would have rescued you. I promise. I was wrong. This is a rare admission of Karlyn being wrong. I read it wrong, but can we admit I don't have a lot of loose skin, and I'm pretty excited about that. Anyway, I will say this though. So you were asking me how I avoided having loose skin. I was never that big in the first place. No, so I think the actual Poor guy. Oh no, I didn't mean to embarrass you on the internet, bro. I'm so sorry about that. But the question was how do I not have a lot of loose skin? I was never really that big in the first place. People spread all these lies about me. They said I was over 300 pounds. I was barely over 200 pounds at my absolute heaviest. So the reason I don't have a lot of loose skin is I was never that big in the first place. So I know I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. And there have been times where I lost fat quicker than the skin recovered, but a month later the skin tightened up and it was fine. So I just wasn't that big in the first place. That's why. Anyway, back to this. Now that I've thoroughly embarrassed myself by being wrong on the internet. God. Well, I mean, you know what, bro? That's still a lot of fucking weight loss and good for you. Congrats, bro. W's to you. Who cares if you have loose skin? You can go get surgery if it really bothers you. Who fucking cares? You lost a ton of weight. That's fucking awesome. Well done. So back to this. So I posted this picture of me on the internet last night just for funsies because I'm allowed to show how good my tits look on the internet without actually showing them. This 500-pound behemoth fucking fat ass wrote a whole fucking novel responding to me. This is, oh, you guys can't even see it. This is how unbothered the 500-pound behemoth fat ass is by this picture. She wrote a whole fucking novel where she's talking to no one in the ether as though everyone is hanging on every word she fucking says. And it's so fucking funny. it's so I have to show this to you guys. I have to show this to you guys. And I'm just gonna give you guys the link if you want to go tell her she's fucking insane. I know most of you are blocked, but like if you're not blocked yet, you can go tell her she's fucking insane. Let me read you the novel this psychotic fucking stalker wrote about me. Now that Karlyn's gone to bed, let me tell you all some secrets. This bitch literally thinks she's a narrator in like a reality TV show or something. Hey, Red Menace Guru, thank you for the $10. Wondering if you're also going to cover the election tonight in Wisconsin. We're going to be doing Disenraged tonight, so certainly we'll be keeping an eye on what's going on in Wisconsin. I'm not going to be covering it directly. We're going to do Disenraged tonight. I hope Hong does not win. She's going to win. Francesca Hong's going to win. Like 1,000% Francesca Hong's going to win. But I'm nervous. Yeah, you should be. Also told the chat before the stream that there would be many retards W me. Yeah, bro, W you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. So this fat bitch is acting like she's the narrator in like a reality TV show and that everyone is looking for her commentary on me when in fact almost no one reads her fucking posts. And the only reason I really shouldn't even be acknowledging her, but this is fucking hilarious, okay? It's fucking hilarious. We're gonna get to the abortion stuff in a second. Come back in like 5 minutes if you're like, Karlyn, what the fuck is this? Just the abortion stuff is gonna start soon. Relax. Now that Karlyn's gone to bed, let me tell you all some secrets. Gathering close. I'm not Karlyn's psychotic stalker. Yep, okay. The people who have encountered Karlyn and have had problems with her know that, by which she means all of the people who spent years gang stalking me to try to get me to kill myself. I once helped her and ended up getting doxxed by her. No, this bitch got me to do an AMA on Reddit in 2020, and then she thought she could control me for the rest of my fucking life, and then when I blocked her ass, she started stalking me. I've made it clear that I never want to be anywhere near her, and yet you post about me all the fucking time. All I do now is to show the public, is to show you her public commentary and to expose who she is. Guys, I'm about to get exposed, guys. You guys ready? You guys ready? I do this because I am a Christian. Well, what does the Bible say about gossip? And we are commanded to expose all evil deeds. So this bitch literally thinks she's God. It is my duty to mitigate potential harm to others. I do this because I exposed other people to her without knowing how predatory and malicious she is. Yeah, guys, you definitely shouldn't donate money to me because I am predatory and malicious. Totes. Some still don't know what Karlyn is. Many have found out. Here's the secret. Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Everyone ready? A lot, and I mean a lot of people have contacted me privately to ask for receipts about certain things about Karlyn. A lot. A lot. Do you know how many people have read this post right now? Let's look at the views. Actually, no, that's my post. 200 people have read this post, and that's actually a high watermark for her. Hang on. Because, see, I've gotten the reputation of being the queen of receipts on Karlyn in her own deluded head. You'll see, and I see people I don't even know telling others to contact Poetry Painter when they have had a bad experience with Karlyn. I never intended to be the foremost authority. Yeah, what does the Bible say about fucking gluttony? I never intended to be the foremost authority on her. But I do keep and save the most outrageous things she's said and done. Nick says, suck it, poetry painter. Thirst traps for Misa can. Yup, thanks, Nick. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, she means the fat most authority, obviously. Obviously. It is good when people want receipts. And since I'm not a big and monetized account, and never will be, people know that I'm not glory or clout chasing. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, okay, sure, you dumb cunt. Misa can fix her? Yeah, I know, right? Isn't this fucking wild? Isn't this fucking crazy? That's what confounds Karlyn about me. She already doxed me and played the only card she had other than calling me fat, which doesn't bother me. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, Jill. I'm sure it doesn't bother you. I'm sure it doesn't bother you because I posted a picture of me looking very thin with really good tits, and you wrote a fucking novel. You wrote, I'm sure it doesn't bother you at all. Okay. Okay. She played all her cards. By now, so many people have privately contacted me. And no, I would never reveal their identities, nor try to use them, nor show their private messages, because they don't exist. The more and more people contact me all the time, privately, to ask me to prove allegations against Karlyn, and yet no proof ever seems to emerge. She'd shit her pants if she knew who now knows about her due to them privately reaching out to me. Okay, yeah, I'm shaking. I'm shaking. Who is it? Andy No? Please let it be Andy No. Please let it fucking be Andy No. Please let it be Andy No. That would open up a whole new world of possibilities for me. It has been my true pleasure to help folks out. And I'm always happy to do it. And would never ever show those private messages, nor reveal the identity of people some Karlyn would never expect. Okay, well, I'm definitely scared now. That have asked me to explain the situation to them, or to show them proof of the things she's done. See, the truth is always the truth. Yeah, okay, Jill. Okay, fat ass. All I have to do is show these people the truth. All the receipts. I am the receipt queen. Yay, stirred over on Rumble W. Thank you for the gifted channel membership, my dear. Thank you for the gifted channel membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the gifted channel membership. We'll get that up to 12. So if you want the receipts too, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. And even if you're one of Karlyn's burners trying to reach out, I'll dish you the truth on Karlyn with receipts, lawsuit proof. Because the thing she once threatened to sue me and own my house over was the truth. No, you dumb bitch. I just don't believe any of you have the money to actually pay out a lawsuit. That's why I didn't sue your fucking asses. Anyway, I hope she has a great night's sleep. Yeah, I did. Actually, Jill, I did. So, guys, just so you know, if you want receipts for things I've done, you can contact the fat ass over on Twitter at Poetry Painter, and she will provide you with the receipts. She will provide you with the receipts. So, I had to share that with you guys because it was fucking funny. But I do want to thank this fat bitch for sharing the picture in which I look really, really hot and absolutely certifiably thinner than her fucking hero, Carrie. Because Carrie is the reason that bitch is stalking me, because Carrie Smith started the gang stalking campaign. That fat bitch joined the gang stalking campaign, and she's still obsessed with me to this day because there ain't shit they can do to shut me up. They've tried for years to shut me up. By the way, people like this fat cunt are the reason that I get much more harassment from the right than I do the left. This is a alleged conservative Christian spending all day, every day, posting on the internet, trying to turn people against me. You want to know why the left is winning? Because of dumb, fat, useless, garbage cunts like this. That is why the left is winning and the right is losing. And as long as people like her are allowed to have a voice on the right, really, she should be silenced. Really, she should be prevented from speaking, gagged and thrown in a closet by the man who has the misfortune to be married to her if the world was really a just and fair place. And until people start to understand that people like this are the problem that is letting the left win, then you guys are going to continue to get fucked over. But like, whatever. I've already fully accepted that the left is going to win. So you guys want to lose to people because you're kissing the really large asses of people like this? Be my guest. Be my guest. Who wants to talk about abortion? Let's talk about abortion, shall we? We are watching a presentation called Reproductive Justice in the Digital Age, and this is about building how leftists are building technology to get people abortions. Let's listen.
A quick orientation of
what
we're gonna dig into today. Figure out a way.
Fuck me. God damn, the sound is fucking low. Hang on. Hang on. Let me see if I can get the sound up. Hang on. Let me know if this sound is okay, guys.
Before we continue to get the party started, because truly this is like my
favorite
nerd gathering.
Is that okay?
Of people who know how to have a good time. So, and also know how to lead. So I'm going to quickly share my screen and then walk y'all through a quick orientation of what we're gonna dig into today. Let's see. We are in present mode. Yay. So welcome to Reproductive Justice in the Digital Age. I always think it's important to
land acknowledgement, land blessing, let's go.
In a virtual context, that we always occupy space in the world, and to acknowledge the fact that this presentation was put together by a team of baddies across the Tava and Piscataway territories. I also always think it's important and interesting to see where people are joining from their parts in the world. So if you want to drop in the chat, if you go to native-CIA, I think that is the link. If somebody wants to share it in the chat, you can share with the room where you're joining us today. I always think it's interesting to see other parts of the country that are showing up for these conversations.
Good job.
My name is Sabrina Hersey Issa. I am a human rights technologist, which is somebody who works to embed tech, human dignity and opportunity into how we shape tech and media. I'm a trained programmer. I am a managing partner of a collective network in a fund called Democracy
Collective.
Well. I'm a fellow at Stanford's Digital Civil Society Lab.
Stanford.
And all of these things are why I am at fun at parties. So today we are going to dig into basically what is Rights by Tech. It's a practitioner community of folks who understand that tech touches every single aspect of our lives, and that no matter where we are in the tech ecosystem, we all occupy power. So this group of people who are not afraid to interrogate their place in the power ecosystem and to help others build power so that we can build a future that includes everybody. And we do that intentionally as a community. And it's one of the reasons why we intentionally gather as a place to interrogate the fact that tech can solve our most pressing social issues in the world, but only if that is met with intention and it's met with community. This is more about code. It's about operating with courage, and courage is easier to do when you're moving with community. So how do we do this? We uplift the innovators who are already among us, the people who are already leading the way without asking for permission. These two amazing speakers we have today are absolute models of this. And I always like to tee up our next Rights by Tech when we're in a current Rights by Tech. And our next one is going to build on the themes that our two leaders that we're platforming today are introducing us to. So today we're talking about reproductive justice in the digital age. And the next Rights by Tech Forum will be focused on building tech to continue to protect our bodily autonomy and reproductive care. All of these things are stacked upon each other because we think it's important to make sure that we're braiding the components and the intersections that we're exploring today and how it's showing up in the world. Another way that we're showing up in the world as an organization is, the 250th anniversary of the United States is eminently upon us, and there's a lot that's broken in our country, but there's also a lot that's working. So our team at Bold Impact, which produces Rights by Tech, we are producing Creators for Democracy, where we are working with incredible local content creators and trusted civic institutions like the MLK Library in Washington, D.C.
MLK Library
Festival. And we are introducing the incredible
they had a whole fucking conference in July at the MLK Library. Guys, this bitch is a fellow at Stanford. This is not insignificant.
Resources that the library has to offer, along with the amazing stories and storytellers that our communities champion. Because we believe that the future of democracy requires imagination and it requires joy. So I'm making sure you all have this on your radar. It'll be July 1 and 2 in Washington, D.C. By
the way, this presentation took place in June. It didn't get uploaded until August, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, this webinar that we're watching took place in June. So it is still relatively recent.
So to bring it back to what we're doing today is, because again, it is June. And one of the reasons, I know Regina and I have talked about this, that reproductive justice matters every day, all the time, but it tends to come up in public conversations around two particular times of year, January and June. June is when Supreme Court decisions are usually delivered. January is the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, but our reproductive care and reproductive justice and our lives as leaders with bodies exist every single day in the world. And also more often, that is managed with the devices that we carry through our lives, with our phones, with our laptops. Every technology touches every single aspect of this. And as we are existing in an era where the legal ground is always shaping underneath us, how do we build technology that protects reproductive care? And how do we also make sense of this? So the two speakers we have to focus on this for us today is Regina Mahoney. She is the senior editor at The Nation. She's the co-author of the incredible book, Liberating Abortion. She's the co-host of the A-Files, A Secret History of Abortion, and she is also an incredible sense maker. Every time we are existing, especially in this era, we are bombarded with a whiplash of information, misinformation, disinformation, things that make us question.
Yo, we got a super chat from Red Menace Guru. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Still learning. Is it factual that tier 1 through 3 of the left is more focused? No, it is not that. No. No. I don't know where you got that from. So I'm glad you asked the question, because I don't know where, bro, please don't make things up. Like, I have no clue where you got that from at all. Like, the entire left is in favor of abortion. The entire left, but just like every other issue, the far left is driving the agenda for the rest of it. So no, like, I think the issue is, like, you just haven't seen me talk about it that much. That might be why you're getting this idea, because you haven't seen me talk about it that much, because I haven't covered it lately. But just because I haven't covered something does not mean the far left isn't doing it. It just means I have a limited number of hours and I can only cover so many things, and I prioritize, and abortion is not always at the top of my list. So no, it is not true at all. That is not correct. But I do appreciate the super chat, and I am glad you asked the question. And guys, we have a retard in the chat. Guys, I need everyone to bully the retard. Is Karlyn addressing the Muslim question tonight? She dodges it every night. LMAO. Must be going to a bad college problem. Pop quiz for the chat. If I am asked about Muslims by conservative retards, what is the answer? Pop quiz for the chat. I want the chat to answer so that everyone's clear that this is a conservative retard that's just here to cause problems. If I am asked about Muslims in the chat, what is my answer? What is my answer? Conservatives care more about Muslims than the far left does. The right cares more about Muslims than the far left does. I study the far left. The far left doesn't even fucking talk about Muslims. They don't give a fuck about Muslims. The reason they support Palestine is not because they are Muslim. It is because Israel are the settler colonists who stole indigenous land. Has nothing to do with Palestinians being Muslim or Israelis being Jewish. Has nothing to fucking do with that. Oh no. Oh no. You think you're going to insult my fucking alma mater and stay on my channel? Oh no. Permanently banned. God. BU wasn't a safety school for me, bro. I got into the College of Communication at BU. That is one of the top communication schools in the fucking country. So you can seethe and cope from the area of the chat where you are not allowed to talk. And of course we have to deport you, bro, because you're far too stupid to be on the channel. Far too stupid. Go over to Ham Pig Beast's channel. He'll be happy to have you. Another retard banned. Already had 2 bannings today. How many other conservatives will we ban today because they can't control their fucking mouths? Let's find out, shall we? Back to this.
Our reality and our sense of safety. And Regina's voice as a journalist and as a leader has constantly been that of somebody who is calmly making sense of a world that doesn't want us to understand that we all have power, we have agency, our voices matter, and we deserve care and we deserve safety. Our second speaker today is Dr. Karlyn Borysenko, an incredible abortion provider based in New Jersey, who is co-founding an incredible, wellness practice that is centering all of the things that I wish I had as a patient in the world. You are such a G. Also, Dr. Borysenko is bringing the perspective of somebody who is a practitioner in the space. When we talk about abortion, we talk about telemedicine. When we talk about all of these issues, very often the people who are the practitioners in the field are not included in the conversations that are shaping the policy, that are shaping the tech products that you are using to administer care. And that gets left out of the conversation. So the reason why we're having both the person who is a sense maker and the person who is delivering care in the same Rights by Tech forum is because you are delivering perspectives that technologists and policymakers and philanthropists rarely get to hear from. So I am just thrilled and honored that we get to learn from you today. And I am going to hopefully figure out a way to stop sharing my screen so that we can dig in to the rest of the conversation today. So Dr. Borysenko, do you want to take the baton of sharing and let us know what it's like to walk in your world as an abortion provider?
Sure,
Yeah,
I
what is
would
it
love
like?
to. Let's
Whoa!
see if technology is with me too.
What the fuck is that flag? Well, at least we get to turn the sound down. Holy shit. At least we get to turn the sound down. That'll be great. What the fuck is that flag? I've never seen that flag before. Hang on. Does anyone know what that is? Let me Google image that shit real quick. What the fuck is that? The Puerto Rican LGBTQ. It's Puerto Rican. It's Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rican LGBTQ plus pride flag. Okay. Well, learn something new every day.
Today or not. Let's see. But hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And so excited to be part of this conversation. I'm really excited to talk about some of the 2 things that I've loved kind of separately, but excited to talk about tech and repro health rights justice together. Can everyone see that okay? Cool. Full disclosure, I feel like many people wanted me to share this just because I really love our marketing. So this is my clinic's name, Luminosis Wellness Collective. And so I am the Chief Visionary Officer, Medical Director, in addition to all the other things that
Okay. Let me be very clear before I block you. First off, that wherever you got that list from, you basically just made that shit up. The top communication schools in the country are BU and fucking Syracuse. Those are the top, and NYU. And by the way, I got into BU, I got into Syracuse, I also got into NYU. But the bigger issue, retard, is that I don't give a flying fuck about your faggoty college rankings. I don't give a flying fuck. Oh no. Oh no. Look at the this conservative is such a massive fucking faggot that they got banned on one account and then created a whole other account to whine about college rankings. One in the chat if you give a flying fuck about college rankings. Two in the chat if college rankings are the most important thing in the world. One in the chat if you don't fucking care about college rankings. Are you in fucking high school, you massive fucking retard? Two in the chat if college rankings are the most important thing in the world. One is for I don't care. Two is for this is a deeply important fucking question. Kinda looks faggot. Like the chat doesn't care about college rankings. I also don't care about college rankings. Only losers and status-obsessed retards care about college rankings. Literally, if you have already graduated from college and you are still obsessed with college rankings, how pathetic are you? Honestly. There's one of two possibilities. Maybe you're just a young retard who worked really hard in high school and got into your dream school, or maybe you didn't get into your dream school and you're feeling really bitter about that. Maybe you are just stupid because you're young. But if it is actually a reality in which you have graduated from college and you are still this fucking obsessed about college rankings, how pathetic is your life? How pathetic is your life? But we're going to ban you again. And if you come back with another account, we will ban that too. And if you come back with another account after that, we will ban it too. Because no one actually gives a flying fuck.
Randomly do, which I'll talk about in a second. Cool. So Luminescence Wellness Collective, it started as a dream between myself.
Oh, and now we have another conservative in the chat that is trying to dox my husband and pretending she slept with him. Are you married to Viktor Viktorovich Borysenko? I slept with him a few weeks ago. You fucked someone whose middle name you didn't even know? Are you, Hannah, are you telling me that you are a massive whore that fucked someone whose middle name you don't even know? I slept with him a few weeks ago after he served me at... he's trying to dox where my husband works. Doxing the car dealership where my husband works. He told me he was separated from his wife, which I'm guessing is you. Okay, well, let me take a picture of this and send that to my husband and tell him that another retarded faggot is obsessed with trying to convince me that that they are actually a woman when obviously you're a man. Obviously you're a man. And let me just send that to the husband real quick. Boom. Boom. Don't worry. I don't believe it. This is literally what I have to put up with from conservatives every single day. Guys, this is why I need the chat to be bullying these people. This is why I need the chat to be bullying these people. This is, yeah, who wants to donate some super chats or some channel memberships? Who wants to donate some super chats or channel memberships? You are really fucking stupid if you believe for 1 second that you are making me doubt my husband in any way, shape, or form. What you are actually doing is showing what a sick motherfucker you and most MAGA retards are, because you are engaging in this shit months after months after months after month after month because you have nothing else to do with your sad, pathetic lives. Permanently banned, obviously, Malcolm. Thanks so much for the super chat, Malcolm. Really appreciate it. Malcolm, follow up with 10 gifted channel memberships. Let's go. Big support from Malcolm. W's to you, my friend. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. It means the world. We also got Leo in with a gifted channel membership. W's to you, Leo. Thank you so much for supporting the stream.
Who's, as background, I'm an OBGYN specialist in complex family planning, meaning that I do all the things that often are marginalized in care, like abortion care, gender affirming care, contraception care, HIV management. So this started as a dream between me and my friend, Kathy Obando, who is a incredible nurse practitioner.
Stephanie, my dear, I'm gonna tell you right now. You are going to get permanently banned today if you continue to ask questions that have nothing to do with the topic. I would not lower myself to be a Republican for any longer than what was required to play a practical joke. I haven't been a registered Republican in 5 fucking years. I will never be a registered Republican. The GOP needs to get burned to the fucking ground. I am voting straight Democrat in November, not because I support the Democrats, but because the Republicans need to go away. They need to go away. They fucking suck. They can all go fuck themselves. Now, Stephanie, if you ask one more question that is not related to the presentation, I am going to permanently ban you. The reason is you did this shit all stream yesterday after we told you to stop. And if you continue it today, you will no longer be allowed to chat in. So the choice is yours. Let's see how smart you are. I think I got another channel membership gift. Thank you, John. W's, my friend. Really appreciate it.
Ally champion for repro health rights and justice in the nurse practitioner space. We wanted to create a space that we knew we dreamed to work in, that we've never been able to find, a place that like centered, as listed here, equity, compassion, and cultural responsiveness. To build a place that we wish that we had growing up, that we wish our communities had, and that we want to train the next generation in.
My husband texted me back in response to the chat that said someone slept with him. And he said, too bad I never used my middle name. Touche, husband. Touche.
I'm not here just to plug this. I want to talk a little bit about what it is that I do. I think we know abortion exists in the media, in politics as a concept, but I don't think many people know kind of what it's like to provide this care, kind of be part of this care every single day. So this is kind of like a snapshot of like my life and the things that I do every day. I'm an OBGYN. I'm the same person that would do your pap smear or potentially deliver your baby or do your hysterectomy, manage your menopause care. I used to do all of those things. In the Dobbs moment, I decided to back away from full spectrum OBGYN care just because I knew that the need for abortion care would skyrocket in the post-Dobbs moment. And I knew that I had those skills. And I always tell people, like, there's always gonna be someone that would be able to deliver a baby, but not everyone would be able to do your abortion. And so I felt like I needed to like actually use my time wisely and do that work. But in addition to providing care, I also am a researcher. My research specifically talks about health equity, contraceptive coercion, and really how providers interact with the communities that we serve and how historically and currently we are framed in systems that cause harm, and how can we mitigate the harm that we participate in by delivering healthcare. And I'm also an activist, that I do a lot of work in media, in lobbying and advocacy, because I feel like I have to. I'm a self-identified introvert. If you told me like 5 years ago that I'd be doing some of this work, I would not believe you. But it's something that I have found that, particularly in the COVID moments, that there's a lot of
The
coverage about this
COVID
thing that
moment.
existed in healthcare spaces, but not a lot of healthcare providers talking about it. And abortion, gender affirming care is no different, that we hear it as a concept, but we don't have a lot of people that actually are involved in that day-to-day work talking about it. So why not? Why not get out there and talk about these issues that I know deeply because of the work I do, but trying to share it with others so that they also understand these concepts. And also, I was super excited to talk about tech because I am such a nerd at heart. I've loved tech since I was a little kid. I was a gamer girl. I have always had the latest gadgets and gizmos. I'm coming to you from an Asus ROG computer. It's like a picture of, I didn't have this exact Palm Pilot, but when I was in med school, we had the option to have like a Palm Pilot as
Fucking
part of our
Palm
like,
Pilot.
kind of instead of having a little textbook with us, having a
Oh,
little thing with technology with us. And I always wanted it. And I have a flip phone now because. So I've always loved technology. I've always seen it as an incredible tool, both for getting the job done, doing things efficiently, but also connecting with folks and using it as a tool to like engage. And so in the medical field, I've always been the first one that wanted to get involved in our electronic medical record or do telehealth as a means of being able to communicate with patients and meeting people where they're at. I know it is a lot easier to text someone than to call somebody. And so why not be on platforms that patients feel more comfortable with? So I'm all about tech and I want it to be useful for the work that we do. And in an ideal world, I would hope that technology is something that we're leaning on as a tool that is helpful, both I think as eliminating gatekeeping, that we want our care to be evidence-based, based on both the experiences that we provide as well as our patients' lived experience. And how can we use technology to make sure that information is widespread and everyone has access to it so that people are making informed decisions and living out autonomy. And also things like telehealth, AI, other tools could potentially be used in ways that are actually promoting patient care, wellness. I was reading an article about how patients are going to AI because we're nicer than doctors are, or that the AI is nicer. And that just breaks my heart. But I get it because I've used those tools and I understand the way that they are geared to communicate with folks and what can we learn from that and think through how we can better communicate and use tools to help improve care. So yeah, I would love technology if it was doing things that were actually helpful. And I think in many platforms they are, and I hope we talk more about what are some things that we can do to improve technology in this space. But I think the main things, and I'm sure Regina also wants to talk about these things, is technology currently is being used in a way that is actively harmful and dangerous for a lot of communities. One is just making my life a lot harder because I spend a lot of my day, more and more, I think, than in the past, of dispelling myths and rumors that people have heard on social media platforms or on websites that are actively lying to patients or giving them false information. Because that information is more readily accessible to them, it is something that we have to have deeper conversations with, and having to really navigate the increasing distrust of the medical community because we're competing with other audiences or other ways to communicate. And if that wasn't bad enough, actively harming patients through criminalization and making things like health records more accessible or anything that is like in technology spaces accessible and being used against people that that are, choosing them their pregnancies or seeking other types of healthcare, asking legitimate questions that you would ask on social media like you would anything else, but being actively targeted and harmed by engaging in those technologies. So I'm hopeful that we can have a deeper conversation about how do we get to a place where like this is actually helpful. And I'm thinking about that also because I'm building my own clinic. And so I get to like buy the things and pick the things. I pick the wallpaper, but I also get to pick like, what is the electronic medical record and how can I get one in our system that is going to be the best use for the patient, making sure that it's easily accessible, that it's readable, that people can engage in it in multiple languages.
Yo, Doug. Thanks so much, Doug, for the gifted channel membership. W's to you, my friend.
That's ease of access to be able to, book appointments and things. but also not harming people. What are making sure that their information is private and secure, that the providers that work for me, making sure their information is private and secure so they're not facing additional harm on top of the additional harassment we typically face for providing care like this. And thinking through how we can use technology to spread the word. I told Sabrina as we were planning for this call, like I'm planning a Substack. It's hopefully coming at the end of the month. But how can we get the word out about dispelling disinformation and also just letting people know that it's something that, you know, that we're working on this, that people don't have to feel like they're in silos.
By the way, breaking news. On Friday, we will be hopefully, well, the debate is happening between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson on Friday. I don't know, like, are they live streaming that? Like, I fucking hope they're live streaming it, or are they just recording it? I don't know. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have some entertaining content.
Managing these issues, that healthcare providers are doing our best to like get out there and talk about.
This is how they talk. What you are experiencing is you have not listened to them before. So you are thinking this is uncommon. This is how the left talks. This is how they talk all the time.
About these things, because we know our patients need us. So that's all I wanted to share. If you want to learn more about my clinic and sign up for our newsletter, feel free to
Live
use the
stream
QR
supposedly?
code.
All right,
But
good.
otherwise, I'll turn it back to Sabrina.
So one of the kind of origin story of
All right, sound is low again. Hang on.
Rights by Tech is the fact that, you know, I was working as inside some tech companies, and a lot of folks who were building tech and shaping the platforms didn't really have a movement home, didn't really have a political home, but wanted to do something, understood that where they were positioned in the ecosystem, what they were building had the potential to touch millions of lives, and they were removed from community and movement. And I'm very much somebody who is in community and in movement. So it became one of those like bridge builders or anger translators or sleeper cells, I guess. It depends on the angle of which you met me in that era. But I found so much tremendous value and growth from creating opportunities for connective tissues between people building the experience and people living the experience. And both of you, in different perspectives and experience and of your lives, live these experiences, and you've been able to translate that so beautifully into your work so that other people can understand it as well. So I guess I want to start by just like, you know, contextualizing this, because I also want to set the stage of the folks in the room today. From what I understand from our intake and then from the audience, is a lot of folks are doing tech and building policy. All of these things, and sometimes tech policy, are shaping and touching our lives, truly the terms of service for our existence and care. Now, for people who are trying to understand and trying to keep up, but struggling to track how fast things are moving in the reproductive health space, what's important to understand about where things are in America right now? Regina, do you want to start?
Sure. And thank you, Sabrina, for having us. And I'm just so delighted to be here at the Rights by Tech community. I always feel very intimidated because
oh my God. Oh,
I don't consider
all right. Well, we just have to
myself
manage.
a tech person, but then I saw the Nintendo and I was like, oh, okay, I can tech.
It's her, not me. Sorry.
And so, so as someone who works in the news, and someone who is very aware, previously was an editor at Rewire News Group, which is a publication online that covers abortion unapologetically as healthcare, because that is what it is, and isn't apologizing for that in any way, but is really straightforward reporting on what's happening. I think that often we can get caught up in the headlines. I do too. Like, even as someone who assigns content that then people read, and so in a lot of ways creating the discourse around abortion, we can get caught up in, oh, well, the right did this, so now everything is.
Think about what she just said. This person who doesn't even know how to work a microphone is the person assigning the content and creating the editorial strategy for these websites that push pro-abortion messaging. They are the ones creating the discourse. That's what she just said. We are the ones creating the discourse around abortion. They are hyper aware of how they are influencing public perception, the fact that they are controlling the talking points, and that they have control over the discourse around these issues. Listen again.
Like, even as someone who assigns content that then people read. And so in a lot of ways, creating the discourse around abortion, we can get caught up in, oh, well, the right did this, so now everything is over, or this court case happened, so then so the most recent example is this case, Louisiana v. FDA, before the Supreme Court. So the Fifth Circuit Court, heavy conservative court, ruled that Louisiana could essentially ban telemed abortion access. And the way that it could do that is because it was saying that because the FDA actually makes the rules around what happens with telemed abortion. And the Fifth Circuit Court was saying, no, we want you to go ahead and ban access to telemed abortion, because if you are in a state where abortion is banned, you should not be able to get pills, because that means it's not banned. And that's the argument that Louisiana was pushing. And so the case then the news headlines immediately after that Fifth Circuit Court ruling was, telemedicine is banned. It's not available. And that's confusing for people, right? Like, if you had an appointment Friday, Saturday, I'm not sure if clinics, but maybe they are, like, practitioners are offering care on Sundays, that could be true. Like, if you had what does that mean for you as someone who is seeking an abortion? And in fact, again, because the FDA is the Fifth Circuit ruling was ordering the FDA. So therefore, in essence, from my understanding, telemedicine abortion actually wasn't banned in that moment. So the case got kicked to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, Fifth Circuit, we're not allowing you to do that. Telemedicine abortion continue as it exists. And so people in states where abortion is banned can continue to see providers outside of those states who then mail them the abortion pills that they need to have their abortions at home.
What did I tell you this was about? This is about people in states where abortion has been banned going and talking via Zoom calls to providers in other states who are then prescribing them and mailing them the abortion pill. Thus, abortion is not really fucking banned anywhere. Again, black lady who can't work a microphone.
Telemedicine abortion actually wasn't banned in that moment. So the case got kicked to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, Fifth Circuit, we're not allowing you to do that. Telemedicine abortion continue as it exists. And so people in states where abortion is banned can continue to see providers outside of those states who then mail them the abortion pills that they need to have their abortions at home.
Well, it's not illegal if the GOP isn't doing shit about it. What is the GOP doing to stop it? What are Republicans doing to stop it? It's not illegal if they're not doing anything to fucking stop it. This is why you cannot listen to conservative retard media, guys. Because according to conservative retard media, this is an issue for the states to decide, and there are some states where abortion is illegal and blah, 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 blah. No! There are abortions taking place in every single fucking state, and at least 27% of them are happening via people having abortion pills prescribed from doctors who are out of state and then sent to them in the fucking mail. And the GOP apparently has no idea this is happening. So, no, you guys didn't ban abortion. No, you didn't save babies. Literally nothing was accomplished because the left already had this system set up and they were like years ahead of you and you had no fucking clue what was going on. So congratulations. All the abortions are still happening and conservative media doesn't report on this. And so nothing gets done about it. So no, it's literally not illegal because nothing is being done to stop it.
Abortion. I say all of this to say, it is easy to jump to conclusions because even the folks who are reporting the news, who are creating, again, the discourse around abortion, don't always get it right. And so then, like, I saw some of the language around it, and it's like, no, they didn't end telemed abortion. The Supreme Court's actually, or the circuit was actually trying to get the FDA to end it. So all of this to say, I think sometimes it can feel like we have no control over anything. And I think we have to practice pausing. This is something my therapist said recently, but I think it's important. Yes, therapy, but like we have to practice pausing and like actually look around at multiple sources, and we can get into misinformation and disinformation, but like, what actually is happening and what information are we repeating that might be problematic for the people who need that information the most, people who literally are, that have the clock ticking around their pregnancy and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do wherever they are. And so, yeah, I'll just say, like, we all have, like, even just on like the most basic level, we all have it in our power to control some things, even if a lot of things feel out of control. And one of those things is what information we are sharing, and whose voices are we amplifying, and are those voices closest to what's happening? And if they're not, we have to choose different sources.
I hear all of that. And there's something about my brain when somebody starts to explain ports and circuits, my brain short circuits. And I start to panic because I never learned the rules of baseball. I don't know what an inning is. I don't want to ever know what it is. And that, it just, for some reason, I was like, oh my God, this sounds like baseball. And then I start to panic and spiral. And then, yeah, from what I heard, from what you shared, I would have not have surmised that telemedicine abortion is banned. I would have been like, oh, borders are fake. Like, that's where I would have landed because I don't want to learn baseball.
I would not have assumed that telemedicine would be banned because I think borders are fake. Your Stanford University fellow, sire. Your Stanford University fellow.
I would have not have surmised that telemedicine abortion is banned. I would have been like, oh, borders are fake. Like, that's where I would have landed because I don't want to learn baseball. Like, I don't want to know a lot the things that I have to know to survive the days that we're surviving right now.
And so much of the conversation is around litigation. In other words, people are making decisions not based on what is real, but what they perceive might be real so that they don't get sued and lose their license. And that's the environment we're actually living in. And yeah, understanding all of that is key.
Dr. Brandy, you are living this too. Like, you are the abortion doctor who the big boogeyman might come and take your license. How are you approaching what's important to understand about where things are at in America right now?
Thanks for that. And I think as Regina was talking, I was also kind of having that like that palpitation of like, oh yeah, I remember how that was, because I had to figure out what my patients would get that day versus the next day. And I think we forget about like the real person impact of these like big lofty things. I also agree, Sabrina, like I'm not particularly interested in law. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like many of us in abortion spaces have had to get an honorary law degree to understand what's happening, because we have to then translate it to the people that are calling. Like, I'll have people, whenever there's a court ruling in New Jersey, in a place that has abortion protections, call the office and ask, like, can I come get my medication abortion today? Can I get my, whatever today? Because I heard in the news that something happened. And that's really hard because it's a lot of like emotional effort and energy to kind of bring people down from, wherever they kind of showed up that day or kind of whatever they heard on the news, to explain something that's not real. That's like a thing that like is hypothetical. Real. But it's not hypothetical to them, and it's not hypothetical to me when I have to like walk in the clinic and get yelled at by people, and it's all the things. I don't know if that's really answering your question. It's more venting about like the situation where we're just having to navigate every day. There's a new fire to put out, and figuring out,
doctor group text. Like, is there like how?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
There are so many Signal chats. Yeah,
Okay.
Signal is our preferred, communication of choice. But yeah.
The abortion doctors are all communicating with each other via Signal. the abortion doctors have secret signal chats where they're communicating. Guys, in about 6 to 9 months from now, Cam Higbee is going to break a story about the secret signal chats of abortion doctors. And I just want you guys to remember that you heard it all here first, because in 6 to 9 months, conservative media is going to blow it up, be like, how are these abortion doctors communicating via signal? And you guys are going to be like, Karlyn told us about this shit 9 fucking months ago, you retards.
Navigate every day. There's a new fire to put out. And figuring out,
like an doctor group text? Like, is there like how?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
There are so many signal chats. Yeah, Signal is our preferred, communication of choice. But yeah, I think we're lucky that abortion community is pretty small. Like, most people know each other in this space, and so it's really good to be able to like vent and talk to others, and also troubleshoot when in this moment, like, I can't really like get a referral from someone in Georgia on paper. But they want that person to be able to access care. How do we get the care, transferred over in a way that is based on our ethical principles and how we provide healthcare, but also isn't as legally, questionable or getting us in trouble for doing the thing that we know we're supposed to do?
They are using signal chats to make sure people in states where abortion is not currently legal have access to doctors in other states. And they know what they are doing is legally questionable. This is why we sometimes tune into reproductive justice conversations, because they literally talk about doing shit that they know is fucking illegal in public meetings. These are their meetings, guys. They put this on the internet. Again, abortion doctor talking about using signal chats to make sure people in states where abortion is illegal have access to doctors in other states. Again, please. Again, hang on. We got a super chat. Some red state AG is going to try to RICO charge. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen, Philip. Yeah, I'll hold my breath on that one. Thanks so much, bro. Appreciate the support. Yeah, I think we're going to clip this. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Doctor group text? Like, is there like how?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
There are so many signal chats. Yeah, Signal is our preferred, communication of choice. But yeah, I think we're lucky that abortion community is pretty small. Like, most people know each other in this space, and so it's really good to be able to like vent and talk to others, and also troubleshoot when in this moment, like, I can't really like get a referral from someone in Georgia on paper. But they want that person to be able to access care. How do we get the care, transferred over in a way that is based on our ethical principles and how we provide healthcare, but also isn't as legally, questionable or getting us in trouble for doing the thing that we know we're supposed to do?
Everything is relational, and I think tech has a way of flattening that, and frankly dehumanizing humans. I also think it's funny that both of you don't identify as technologists, but you're like, wait, I too tech in your own distinct ways. And I want to introduce that because even though it is very dehumanizing, both of you have taken a deeply personal approach to your bodies of work. So first, I want to go to Regina. Regina, your work sits at the intersection of race and class and reproductive freedom. So when did you first understand this as an issue that wasn't just about policy and it wasn't just about highfalutin politics, but it was actually deeply personal?
Oh, I love this question so much. And it very much is rooted in my abortion, because that's really when everything coalesced for me. I was 29 at the time, and I knew without a doubt that I was going to have an abortion, and I was able to access the care because I didn't have to deal with any financial or other hurdles. I had insurance. At the time, I lived in the biggest city in the country. But after my abortion, it was like a light switch went off, and I was just like, oh no, I actually do want to become a parent. And that was really confusing for me because it felt like, well, if I need an abortion, I know where to get that. But if I want to be a parent, like, how do I do that? Like, where are those resources? And I felt like that was just underinvested in, and especially for parents of color in this country. And so it just didn't seem like an appealing, like I didn't understand how to get there. And so it was really, and then so after my abortion, speaking professionally, I was working, when I had my abortion, I was working at a place where I was focused on philanthropic news and covering the philanthropic sector. And I started to look at working in a place that focused on reproductive health care because I had that experience, and I gained a clear understanding of how these systems come together. And so I transitioned to working as an editor for Rewire News Group I had mentioned. And that is actually where I learned about the reproductive justice framework. And it's really interesting because it turned out when I left the Foundation Center, which is where I was working, now called Candide, and transitioned to the Rewire News Group, I learned that one of my coworkers at the time was one of the founding mothers of the reproductive justice movement. Like I worked with this person for years and had no idea. And it was only as I was leaving, she gave me this like stack of newsletters, stack of like a book called Undivided Rights that really lays out how different communities of color are impacted by reproductive injustice and why we need to fight for this new vision and this framework. And I saw in the notes she wrote, like she circled her name in the back of the book. I was like, wait. And it's just, it's wild to me that, you know, so many of us live these double and, you know, all these different lives. But yeah, it was really in gaining a better understanding of reproductive justice that things started to come together. And I did actually want to talk a little bit about the differences between these things, because I do think the terms themselves get used interchangeably, but they're actually very different. And I will very quickly share just a couple of slides, because when I think of reproductive health, like I think of it as encompassing what Dr. Brandy has been talking about, like all of these different healthcare services and aspects of care, treatments, you know, preventative care, and the research that goes into telling us whether or not these services are working and who they're working for and who they're not working for. But then there's this other pillar of reproductive health, which is really around the structural design of our healthcare system and our societies and our technological systems and societies, and how they form a disservice to people with the least amount of power in our society. And that's why there's a photo of the Ralph sisters to the left under the phrase reproductive health, because they were forcibly sterilized in 1973 through a government program. And so that's why reproductive health is itself a thing. And then reproductive rights is the legal framework around these different aspects of reproductive health, rights, and justice. And that, you know, it centers around having the legal right to an abortion, having the legal right in a state to access care without having to deal with different restrictions like waiting periods and things like that. That's all of the legal aspects of this fight is reproductive rights. But reproductive justice is its own framework. And it was created by Black women in 1994. This is a photo of the We Remember pamphlet. And we
created by Black women.
Include all of this in our book, Liberating Abortion. But this pamphlet came out in 1989. So 5 years before the reproductive justice framework was founded. But it really is the first time that this language was crystallized around and coalesced around why we need reproductive freedom that actually will allow people to have not just the right to an abortion, but also the right to parent, and also the right to be able to raise their child in a safe and sustainable community without environmental injustices and all the other ways that we can be denied access to care. And so again, I just wanted to share the difference, because for me, it was a way to understand how or why it seemed like it would be harder to have a child, because it didn't seem like there was an investment, especially for people of color and people of color and having children in this country.
Well, and I can also see how that, like, you connect that to your unlock. You're like, wait, I want an abortion and I want to be a parent someday. And you're like, wait, with reproductive justice, I have the freedom for both of those things.
Right, exactly. And for most of my life, I only understood reproductive rights. And it wasn't until I needed reproductive health care that I then started to understand reproductive health care. But then it felt like there was just this gap between all of these things. And it's like, oh, no, no, no. Black women got us. They came up with this framework before, you know, it was like 20 years before I had my abortion, more than that, before I had my abortion.
So we framed this conversation as like what's at stake and also what's possible. And when we moved to what's possible, I wanted to circle back to that because reproductive justice is the lens to which we can look at possibility. But first, I want to make sure folks understand, like, telehealth abortion access, it's being challenged legislatively and legally.
Oh no, not that.
Multiple states. A lot of those challenges are being implemented through surveillance at tech companies and data and collecting data and all of the implications around that. What is at stake if those challenges succeed? And I don't know which one of you want to go first.
I'm happy. Yeah, sure. Well, what is most concerning about these types of cases is that it's so easy to not even see your rights be taken away again, because it's like, oh, well, you live in New Jersey or you live in this other state, so it doesn't matter if this happens. Or people already don't have access to abortion, so why does it matter if they can't get medication through the mail? But if this case succeeds, we are seeing this is a national ban on abortion. Like what they tried to do with Dobbs, the decision that overturned Roe, they will be doing with this telehealth abortion decision.
They're flat out saying it. They're flat out saying it. Does the GOP even fucking understand this? Does the GOP even fucking understand this? They did not ban abortion. They didn't ban abortion in any fucking state by repealing Roe v. Wade. Abortion is not currently banned in any fucking state because of the telehealth thing, where the doctors are working in secret signal groups to communicate with each other to give people in states where it's banned referrals to doctors out of states where they're doing a fucking Zoom call and then prescribing them abortion pills and then sending them through the mail. Does the GOP understand how important this fucking telehealth thing is? I'm going to bet no. I'm going to bet they don't. The left understands, the right does not.
That is gutting for people in so many ways, especially the people in states where abortion isn't accessible. People already cannot get abortion. Like, yes, it is true. The data proves that there are actually more abortions than before Roe was overturned. Than compared to now, we have more.
You don't say. There are more abortions now than before Roe v. Wade was overturned. You don't say. Karlyn, how are there more abortions now? Because the left has made abortion pills readily accessible through the fucking mail. That is how there are more abortions today than before Roe v. Wade was repealed. The left is doing telehealth, self-managed abortion, and sending abortion pills through the mail to every state, regardless of the laws.
But that doesn't mean that everyone who wants one is getting one. It does mean that many people are being forced to have children. It does mean that many people are suffering all sorts of consequences for having abortions because of the stigma, the misogyny of it all, really. And so it will absolutely be another national abortion ban, but it has implications beyond abortion because we're looking at people accessing care in a way that actually works for them. When we have all of this infrastructure, that makes it difficult for people even to go across town because of the disinvestment in communities and things like that.
So Dr. Braid, you've done research on this. Like, your research has shown that like telehealth has helped with scheduling, transportation, childcare. If you can't get time off of work. All of these things are huge barriers, not just to seeking abortion care, but just seeking care, period. So like, from your experience, how has telehealth helped address gaps? And then what still needs work, assuming that this is something that is going to be able to continue and that in the continuance, we can reshape it and reimagine it?
Yeah, and I really like the way that Regina framed it, that it's not necessarily like this one thing will go away, but everything else will be fine. That it's really addressing this bigger problem around access and equity and people's ability to access to the healthcare that they need, regardless of like what they need and when they need it. So they've shown that telehealth has been an improvement for people, whether they have to travel across the country or travel down the street. And I think it helps us better understand that healthcare doesn't exist in a vacuum, that everyone thinks, people with means can just go to their healthcare provider whenever they can. They would have the ability to take off of work or have childcare or do all the things that many people actually don't have access to or don't necessarily want to have access to. Like, if I don't have to get childcare, I don't want to have to get childcare. You should be able to decide what your healthcare engagement looks like, whether that maybe you feel more secure over the screen than you do in an in-person visit. Regardless of the reason why you may seek that care, it should be an option. And the more we whittle away at different pieces of how people can access care, we're just ultimately decreasing people's ability to live healthy lives because they can't get the care however they would feel the most comfortable. And the same thing, I think, with the mifepristone thing particularly, is that we forget that mifepristone, if it is banned, one, it is a nationwide ban, but it also is a ban on a medication in a different way than we've ever seen before. And this is kind of technology based in that we are deciding that groups like the FDA are no longer trustworthy to decide what is safe and not safe, what is legal or not legal for us to give as physicians. So regardless of all the education and research that shows that this is an incredibly safe medication, we're just going to ignore that because this institution says that we can't use it.
The court.
And I think that has broader implications, both for all the medicines we use. Like mifepristone is not just used for abortion. It's used for miscarriage care. It's used for endocrine disorders that have nothing to do with abortion, but potentially could be limited in people's ability to access it via telehealth if there are rules around it now. And any other new technologies, new vaccines, new developments are going to be stifled because we're telling people that the government can decide what kind of technologies and advancements we can do in medicine, which ones are allowed or not. And that is really scary for any type of clinician.
Let me ask you something. We're about halfway through this presentation. Let me ask you something. One in the chat, if you have seen right-wing media explain this issue to their audience, that the abortion pills are central to how the left is getting around abortion laws. One in the chat, if you have seen people on the right explain this to their audience. Two in the chat, if you have never seen people on the right explain this to their audience. I'm actually curious. One in the chat, if you have seen people on the right who claim to be pro-life explain explicitly the left is getting around abortion laws because abortion doctors are in these secret signal groups where they are referring people to out-of-state doctors to get access to the abortion pills, which they are sending through the mail. Two in the chat, if you have never seen conservative media explain this to their audience. Okay, that's a lot of twos. That means people haven't seen it. Okay, follow-up question, and I'm going to change the numbers just to be sure. 3 in the chat if this is the first time on this stream that you have heard about and understood this issue. 4 in the chat if you heard someone else explain this issue before me. 3 in the chat if you either learned about this issue from me or this is like the first time you're hearing about it. 4 in the chat if you learned about this issue from someone else that's not me. Okay. That's a lot of 3s. Okay. So I want to remind you guys that my work is 100% funded by you. If you guys do not fund my work does not happen. One of the very best ways that you can fund my work is to send in channel memberships, because that not only do channel memberships fund my work, they also give a nice little present to people in the stream to get them access to supporter perks like Spy Stream, which we will be doing on Thursday, like the supporter Discord where we do movie night twice a week. And if you want to make sure that I'm able to keep doing this, can I suggest that we get the channel membership numbers up, because we're a little bit light today. I would love to reach 100 channel memberships on the stream. That's kind of the daily goal that we have when I'm teaching a class like this. If you appreciate what I'm doing and you want to see it continue, please feel free to fund it via channel memberships, via super chats, and Rumble. You guys can participate too. just to remind you guys are freeloaders most of the time, but you guys can participate, send in super chats, channel memberships. You can also subscribe on my Substack, buy merch in my merch store. The links are in the description below. But let me know if you guys want me to keep going. Let me know if you want me to keep going. Hey, Mike, I appreciate the ongoing support. Thank you so much, bro. I will count that as a channel membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see how many people actually care about this issue getting covered. We're going to see. We're going to see.
Or any person that needs healthcare, because we don't know what's next.
So a lot of people seek first telehealth because of the history of medical harm and how it has shown up in our healthcare space. How might you advise patients who are seeking telehealth care approach it if they're like, okay, I'm not going to go digital first. That is where I'm going to lean into. What should patients consider, considering that is how you're not that is how you're deciding, but that will be a component of the practice that you're launching?
I think it's really just tailoring it to whatever people need. I understand that people have absolutely felt historic harm in healthcare spaces, and that telehealth doesn't fix that, but it creates a different dynamic and power potentially, and hopefully allows people to engage in a relationship with a provider in a different way. It's hard because I think we are trying to make sure that people are engaging in healthcare safely.
So by the lack of channel memberships, I'm going to assume you guys are done with the stream. I got one person. I got one person. Are we done? Are we done? You guys don't want to do abortion day anymore? K Stern, I know I saw you give it. I appreciate that gift on Rumble. I appreciate it, K Stern. Thank you. Might this be a day where I have to remind people that streams aren't going to happen if they're not funded? Is that what we're doing here today? So there we go. There, yo, old sub. Oh my God. I didn't expect old sub to do quite that. I didn't expect him to do that. We got Mario in with the 5. Thank you so much, Mario. It just got funded. Abortion Day just got funded. Old sub, bro. Like, I have no words for how generous you are, my friend. Thank you so much for another drop of 50 channel memberships. I so appreciate it. W's to you, good sir. And we got Great Otis in here with another 20. So just like that. Literally just like that. Tolkien fan 2. Holy shit. Tolkien fan 2 in with another 20. We got big support. We got big support from Old Sub. We got amazing support from Mario. W's to you, bro. We got big support from Old Sub. 50 fucking channel memberships. I need to see W's in the chat. Plague Doctors in the chat. We got great big support from Great Otis with 20 gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much. We got big support from Tolkien fan. Another 20. And just like that, the stream is funded. Just like that. All I had to do was a good old-fashioned Catholic guilt trip. A good old-fashioned Catholic guilt trip was what was required in that moment. A good old-fashioned fucking Catholic guilt trip was required in that moment. See, I grew up in a Catholic family. I might not myself be Catholic, but everyone in my family was, except for me and my younger brother. So although I am not Catholic, I still know how to do the Catholic guilt trip. I so appreciate the support, guys. Thank you so much for funding the stream. Let's continue. Let's continue.
And telehealth is less in our control, and doctors in power have feelings about not being in control. So that's one thing to name up front. But yeah, I think as I'm trying to think through what telehealth looks like for my practice going forward, I think it's a huge tool that we should be using, and also being mindful of how we can use it in a way that is not harmful for people. So thinking through, like, how do I document my visit for a telehealth visit where it may not be legal potentially to be providing the care that I'm doing, but I have this video recording, or I have this like transcription of what occurred during that visit because I had it via telehealth.
How do we make sure we can use, see, like, it's a good thing the stream just got funded, right? How do we use telehealth and record people talking about doing illegal things while also making sure we protect the recordings so that no one finds out that we're using telehealth to do illegal shit. Thank you to everyone who just funded the stream. Because I was seriously going to end the stream. I was going to end it. I was going to be like, okay, no one wants to talk about this. I'll go do something else. Your illegal abortion provider, sire. Again. Madam. Again. Hang on, we got Tolkien Family with the super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Just jumped in on my break at work. You deserve all the good vibes in the world. No cons media or influencers will ever persuade me from supporting you. However, I can. Bless you, Tolkien fan. So appreciate it, bro. Big support today from you. You rock. Again, madam. Again.
But yeah, I think as I'm trying to think through what telehealth looks like for my practice going forward, I think it's a huge tool that we should be using, and also being mindful of how we can use it in a way that is not harmful for people. So thinking through, like, how do I document my visit for a telehealth visit where it may not be legal potentially to be providing the care that I'm doing, but I have this video recording, or I have this like transcription of what occurred during that visit because I had it via telehealth. There's a lot of security things that we're trying to navigate to figure out how people can engage in platforms that feel more, comfortable nowadays, but also making sure people are safe.
It's very funny when you were like, this is not the vibe that we want to have with this patients. And you're like, this is not the vibe I want to give as a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to talk about what's at stake, but we also want to talk about possibility, because in this realm, a lot of what we're doing and building is in reaction to, and we are operating from a place on our heels. But both of you are visionary in your own disciplines. So I want to tease out that, in a land where we can map out new possibilities. First, I want to ask you, what do you wish more people knew about navigating this landscape right now, in order to keep themselves safe as patients and as advocates? And then from there, I want to talk to you both about how you want to design the ideal intersection of how tech and care can show up for yourselves.
Jump in. And I have a slide that I'm gonna share because it's funny.
I like it.
It's my favorite. My favorite. I wanted to talk about technology in a slightly different way before I talk about it, like how it exists now. Can you see my slide? Oh no! Okay, let me try again. What are you doing, computer? Let's be friends. Let's see. Oh, I guess I wonder. Oh, because I have so many windows open. Is the problem? Okay, I don't know if you saw part of it, but it's basically, it's a woman peeing over a bunch of barley and wheat because she's trying to figure out if she's pregnant, and if she's pregnant, if she's having a girl or a boy. And I wanted to share this photo because we have always been creative in terms of how we care for ourselves and our communities. This is one example. And so this was in 1350 BCE that they created this technology on pregnancy tests. But then more recently, I like to, when we share the story in our book, the story of misoprostol. So in Brazil, abortion is banned, has been banned. And in the 70s and 80s, they're trying to figure out how people can sell, because people are always going to have abortions. It's just a matter of, figuring out the most effective way to do it, the safest way to do it. And so in these favelas in Brazil, where largely people of color are living, they discovered that there's this one medication that was getting passed around in the pharmacy that was the most effective type of pill for an abortion. And so, that was having medication abortion was another technology, is the point I'm trying to make. Like that, it was another reproductive technology. We just didn't see it that way. But they saw it that way because it was a pill that so they didn't have to go to someone who might then, cause harm internally when they're, cutting them, or whatever tools they were using to try to have that abortion. when herbs and plants and things were.
Listen, hang on. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on. Oh, one more. Hang on. Sorry. Okay. I have something to say. Chicken Spawn says, sorry, I'm never really being an active supporter besides my subscription. I am really just strapped right now until my health sells. I want to emphasize this, guys. I understand that not everyone has the ability to fund my work at all times. I ask the people who are in a financial position to do so to fund my work so that we can make as much as possible freely available to everyone. And Chicken Spawn, I know that when you are in a position to financially support my work, you will. I know that. So don't worry about it. I don't want anyone to ever feel guilty. If you're able to just be a channel member, that's still fucking awesome. There's some people out there who can't afford to be channel members, which is why we like to give out channel memberships. And if you can't afford to and you just watch all the stuff for free, that's cool too. Just make sure you're sharing the content. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're helping out in some way if you appreciate what I'm doing and you want to see it grow, okay? But don't ever feel guilty about feeling like you can't do enough. You're a channel member. That's fucking awesome. Like, John gives out like at least one channel membership every single day. Mike gives out a channel membership every day. We got Chicalago dripping them out there. Old Sub gives like a ton of shit because he's fucking awesome. But everyone's fucking awesome, honestly, because like not everyone has the resources of Old Sub apparently. And that's and you know what? That's just fine. No one should ever feel guilty about not feeling like they're doing enough. I know that people who appreciate my work will support it when they can. And I appreciate everyone who does, whether you send in one channel membership or a super chat or a super sticker or a Rumble thing, or you have a Substack subscription. I appreciate all of it. And some people are able to do a little bit more, and that's fucking awesome. And those people, you know, like we love those people because in a large respect, they are the ones that do keep a lot of this stuff going. But everyone, like in my ideal world, what I would like to see, I would like to see less like relying on people who make the big drops, although of course we do love them. I want to see 100 people come in the chat, drop a fucking channel membership, and just have it be done because it's only $5. That's my ideal world. And I feel like we can get to a place where that happens at some point. We're just not there yet. But everyone's funding is appreciated, and because all of it combines to make this work. You know, there are very few people who are able to do what I'm able to do. And the reason I am able to be completely independently funded is because I have the best fucking community on the internet.
Accessible and available. And so I like to share that story because I find it inspiring. Like, I think we have to keep talking about how people will always find ways to have abortion.
Logo in with the mutual aid donation. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Just like people would find ways to, you know, figure out if they're pregnant or whatever the technology is. And so we're seeing now people dropping, you know, pills using drones in different countries. You know, the mailing of
they're dropping abortion pills using fucking drones. They're flying abortion pills into countries where it's banned with fucking drones. Val Venus has been liking a lot of my posts on Twitter, I will have you know. He has. He's paying attention. Again, madam?
And ways to have abortions. Just like people would find ways to, you know, figure out if they're pregnant or whatever the technology is. And so we're seeing now people dropping, you know, pills using drones in different countries. You know, the mailing of all of these things are technologies that people are now using to expand access to abortion. And then there are tools, and where I like to focus and spend most of my time is the online tools that people actually, not enough people know about. So there's ineedana.com, and that's a website where, you know, if there's, you know, not just go there to get basic information about what's accessible in your state, and you can search by state. But also, when news is changing, they are updating their website in real time. So if you're like, if there's a court,
so leftists have an entire information ecosystem of instant abortion news updates. Kay Stern over on Rumble. W's to you, my dear. Thank you so much for the gifted channel membership.
case or something, and you're like, what is happening? If you go to ineedana.com or you go to their social media, you're going to find that information out in real time. There's also a number of other tools, hotlines. This is the miscarriage and abortion miscarriage and abortion hotline. There's Charlie, the chatbot. This is an AI tool that is grounded in science and researchers who are using.
They created their own AI chatbot about abortion to help people get access to abortion.
Using this technology in a positive way to, so instead of people going to Google, which is now, of course, AI, the search results are AI driven, there's bias in AI.
Wait, did I get gifted channel memberships on Kick? I didn't even realize. Holy shit, I'm sorry I missed those. Hang on. I don't have my Kick stream up. Yo! Did we get some gifted channel memberships over here? It's probably a little bits if there was one. I don't see where the gifted channel memberships got dropped on Kick, but I will give Kick a W if some gifted channel memberships did a little bits. It was a little bits. That's what I thought. Thank you, a little bits, for holding down the fort on Kick. I appreciate you very much, bro.
There's research that supports it, research around ChatGPT, giving people some evidence-based information, but also painting medication abortion, self-managed abortion as this negative thing when people have been doing it for thousands of years. But anyway, people can go to Charlie the chatbot. And then I also always include the Yuki app because it's just another way for people to be tracking their cycles, getting reproductive health information. All of this to say that there are so many ways, and there will continue to be so many ways that people can use technology, the technology that is around us, the technology that they're building, the technology you're coding, to get people accurate information. And I think part of the challenge is actually just getting this information out that these tools exist, because a lot of people don't even know that they exist, and they are still going to ChatGPT, they're still going to Google and all of these other tools that are not serving them or present biased information that is only serving to increase stigma. And the only way we get out of this is to eliminate stigma, because we need people to understand that abortion is forever. Like, it's not going away. And it's about getting
abortion
people, the safe
forever,
access that they need. And these tools are one way to do
Abortion
that.
is forever. It's not going away. Ever, probably.
Dr. Brain, do you have anything you want to add on that?
I think that's beautiful. I think the other thing to consider, and I think we're thinking about that as we're building out Luminosis, is just what do we want our healthcare system to look like? Because we've never had the chance to pick. I was reflecting as we were thinking about like healthcare spaces I've worked for in the past. I think in one of the many places I've worked in, I've had like a woman boss. I've always had white male bosses. And those are people that like build the department, build the clinic, build the policy, and thus build the environment that healthcare is happening in. So what does it look like when people of color, when other folks that come from marginalized backgrounds who have experienced healthcare harm, build it in a way that they want it to look like? So some things I'm thinking about, obviously, are accessibility issues. So whether that is physical accessibility issues, making sure we have technologies that help people better access the actual physical space if they're going to a physical space, whether that is telecommunication things, accessibility around having a translation services available, or prompting so you can like read text for your telemedicine visit. If needs to be in like more culturally sensitive, or thinking through what can we do to like bring more of our culture into spaces. Some things that we're doing in our clinic is we have wellness practitioners that are coming from our community. So people that do sound healing, people that do acupuncture, that if you want that as part of your abortion process or your pap smear or whatever, like, what can we do to like build a space that is kind of, and I don't want to use the like framework around like a med spa, kind of like curated for that comfort, but actually kind of curated for that comfort. What can we do to build a space that feels more spiritual or more holistic? We haven't seen that before, or like, I think people aren't investing enough in that. And it's kind of technology, but it's also kind of more community building. If we're building a space for us, by us, what does that actually mean? I'm thinking about also like hierarchy and powers between patients and providers. I've always thought of my job as more of a counselor and a therapist than as like a doctor that says, you must do this, I will do this to you. And how can we build spaces that center autonomy and allow people to have all the information so they're making an informed decision, including not making a decision if that's kind of where they're at. There's so many things that we need to do to repair our healthcare system. And having the right people in the right space, I think, is the way to do it.
I can't wait till both of you are changed. This is amazing. I want this world, especially because so in this forum, and in the broader Rights by Tech community, there are technologists, designers, developers, civic builders. We are a room of builders. What do you actually need from them? Like, what would be most useful to the work that you're doing on the ground right now?
That's a great question.
And
I think a lot of it. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I have one more question, and then I'm going to turn it over to the community. If folks have questions, you can feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can DM them. And then we also have a question doc that you can submit if you don't want to raise your hand publicly.
Hang on, is Dark One asking a question? Hang on.
I think. Oh, did you want to go, Dr. Brandy?
Yeah, go first.
I would say that I think collaboration is crucial.
Liberation from the nuclear family means the abolition of the nuclear family, because the left believes that the nuclear family is the reproduction mechanism of capitalism, where children are raised with capitalist values to feed into the capitalist system. So they want to abolish the nuclear family, abolish parental rights. All the children belong to everyone. Literally, they believe capitalism is private property ownership. One of the forms of private property ownership is parental rights. Parental rights would be abolished under communism completely. And so, yeah, that's what liberation from the nuclear family means abolition.
Because we don't know what we don't know. And like, you know, I like to think that the people who are creating this biased AI are doing it because they just don't know that it's biased. But like, those same institutions, companies have donated millions, if not, multiple millions of dollars to the Trump, foundation and the administration to further his agenda. And so it's hard to say that, right? Because those same companies are also responsible for, having certain accounts be removed, like cutting access for like abortion groups, for queer groups, and all these things on all of these different platforms, banning information, like turning the dial down on certain accounts, and so makes it harder for us to even engage and share information that's accurate because those accounts are not being seen. And so I do think if there's more collaboration, we can build more tools like we see with Yuki, like we see with Charlie the chatbot, like we see all of the examples that I shared. I think that having the folks who are looking at things through the perspective of the people who would be affected because they've had that experience, or because they're just practitioners and have done that research, come with that knowledge, bring that community, is crucial. And so I think when there are opportunities for collaboration, like that to me would be how we like fight back against what we don't know in this moment.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm thinking about like, as I'm building up my clinic, like part of the work that I'm trying to do is bring people in and have people kind of be part of the process. Like actually follow a patient around and see what that looks like, and see if you are here focused on security, what would this be security things that you'd be worried about? Or if you're here for the electronic medical record, what would you want that experience for that person, and what difficulty they're having in engaging in whatever platform we're using. I saw in the chat, I agree, a Bobo Tech, a company that is building an EMR from and centering abortion as like the thing that helps drive them to make the tool is really an interesting way to go about things. And what can we do to help build that bridge in community and figure out what are the things that like don't work. I usually tell my medical students when they're thinking about what their research project will be, I'm like, what's the thing that you went through your rotations and didn't work? Like, where was the moment where you're like, oh, I'm annoyed by this, or I wish this was different? That's the best way to ask a question. And so thinking through how can we bring more people in with different perspectives to like really analyze this problem from different ways. Because I use an EMR, an electronic medical record, but like I don't know how to build one. So having everyone in the room and talking to each other is critical when I think people are being so siloed in this moment.
But I do want to be very clear about this idea, which is that folks of color have the most abortions in this country, but are so often not included in these conversations or at these tables. And so just because, like, I will share an example. It was probably like over 10 years ago that there was, I'm probably going to get the location wrong. I think it was in Tennessee, but a Planned Parenthood opened up right next to an ICE office. And so who was at that table? Who was missing from that?
They fucking opened a Planned Parenthood next to ICE? That's funny. That the ICE guys just need to go sit outside the Planned Parenthood. They'll have all the illegals they could ever want.
And people, when they made the decision to open up that clinic near there. And then the lack of accountability and stuff like that, just like, oh, it's not a big deal, like, whatever. And so I do think it's crucial to have a mix of people who are going to be the most affected by things not going the right way, because they're going to be surveilled. They're already in over-policed communities and populations. The list goes on. And people with disabilities, too, who are so often left out of these conversations. Yes, accessibility is crucial, but there are other things that we do not know because we don't have those people in those conversations. And so it is absolutely, there's so many folks who are working at all these intersections who are interested in being at these tables, are just not brought in. And so finding any opportunity to do that and ideally paying them for that work because it is work. And we certainly don't want to tokenize people or make them feel othered in any way. They should be included as a full participant in those conversations.
And it goes back to your call, like collaboration is key. You do actually have to design these places, these experiences, so that other people can show up for them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to leave some space for questions. If folks have it, you can drop it in the chat, but I also want to make sure we land the plane well with you all. So you shared what could be helpful and what could be most useful for the work that you're doing on the ground right now. I also want to, we have our platform folks always leave with a call to action. So when people leave this conversation, what's one thing that they can start doing tomorrow to support reproductive justice and your vision for the worlds that you want to build? Because frankly, like, sign me up. I'm there. I want, I'm sending you a postcard from there tomorrow. Like, I'm in, I'm locked in. But what you have described, especially Dr. Brandy, is like what most people wish for themselves as patients to have. So what are some things that we can do to show up for you in that sense and put us to work too?
I mean, the cheesy answer is to like help me make this clinic a reality. So going to our site, donating. We're a nonprofit. So and abortion is really struggling right now. So I think not just like helping Luminosis, but any independent abortion clinic that is doing the work right now, they are overburdened and overworked and don't get the reimbursement to be able to like stay afloat. So they often rely on donations. So helping any indie clinic in your area, whether that's physically going and volunteering, whether that's donating, volunteering as like an escort to help people come in or drive them to their appointments. Like, there's so many things that you could do to help. So if you physically want to get involved in the work of providing care, that's kind of a thing that can be done. I think also just spreading the word. it's so hard to get lost in all the misinformation that we've been talking about, that just uplifting resources that exist. Regina named a couple of great ones. I Need an A, the Miscarriage and Abortion Hotline are great places for people to access care or ask questions that come from trusted resources and people that are in this work. Guttmacher is a great place to uplift if you're looking for citations, or the We Count study that just came out with a new study, I think today, on new numbers about what abortion trends are looking like in our country. So just uplifting whatever positive or factual information that you can, so that we can try to get out of the weeds and the mess, and hopefully help people know the information that they're looking at is accurate.
You got a call to action, Regina? And then we have a question in the chat.
Yeah, I think that so what we talk about in the book is that we need to have to investigate where we might be uncomfortable with abortion and really lean into that, because there are probably some things to unlearn. And I would say it's crucial to have conversations with the people in your life about why you support abortion, why you support reproductive health, why you support reproductive justice. Because you may find that maybe there are some things that they don't agree with you on, but maybe there are things that you do agree on, you've just never talked about it before. And I do think we change hearts and minds when we have those uncomfortable conversations with the people in our lives, our loved ones, our community members. Talk about why these issues are important, because you never know who might have a story to share with you, or may need something, or maybe it's not today or tomorrow, in a month or a year, come back to you and just be like, hey, we had that conversation. Look, my niece or so-and-so, or what, you know what I mean? Like, we have to be there for one another. And a lot of that is just having these conversations, these heart-to-heart conversations about why these issues are so important to one another. And then the other thing I'll say, of course, is sustain and support abortion funds. Just like independent clinics need that funding to pay, literally pay for people that get access to the care that they need. And so, always, if
they have entire mutual aid networks just to get people abortions called abortion funds. That's a mutual aid network, guys. That is literally an organization that only exists to pay for abortion. That is how a lot of this stuff is being funded, through mutual aid, just like they fund everything else. John Morgan! I remember at my uni's Get On Board Day, there was a Planned Parenthood booth across from the TPUSA one. The looks that were exchanged. I bet you could write a whole fan fiction about that, John Morgan. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Good to see you.
You can support, become a monthly donor, give as often as you can to abortion funds.
There's an incredible question in the chat. I want to make sure we fit it in before we drop today. But like, what policy changes would you like to see, either social media platforms?
Yo, we got another super chat. Hang on. Lisa old Granny, thank you. Would you tell Nick Sorter there is someone impersonating him on Facebook trying to scam people, trying to get them to transfer digital assets to QFS? I will tell him that. I'm sure he already knows about it. But I will send him a message, Lisa old Granny. Thank you so much for sending me a super chat. I really appreciate it.
Platforms make, or the state and federal governments that are doing the policy regulation for them to make safer and more accurate digital spaces.
Let's see. Because I'm thinking about this in all different levels. I think the biggest concern is, treating abortion like it's a bad word. Because it's not. Like, there's the obvious, like, tracking and holding on to information, selling that information to third parties, like apps and things like that. That will do that. And of course, I think I saw that, there's concerns around access, message, like your internal messages, direct messages being accessible and all that stuff. Which I want to fact check myself on, because I think I just saw somebody talking about it. I don't actually know how real that is, but maybe someone here knows. But anyway, I think the stigma that's inherent within all of these platforms is the problem for me, because abortion is not a bad word. Like, we have to be able to say it and not have to use like, pseudonyms or all these things. Like, we should just be able to say abortion and not get banned, not get reported. To talk about our own personal experiences and not have those experiences be abused by other people on those platforms, which is another problem, right? And so, yeah, I think just like having a more care-centered approach, which like, can they do that? Like, I don't. You all have to tell me, because I don't know.
All things are possible.
Love it.
And if they say it's not, they're lying.
Yes.
I'm thinking about that also on like a broader scale. Like New Jersey's done great work to try to look at crisis pregnancy centers, places that like actively lie to patients, and trying to see how they can try to curtail the work that they're doing, because there's an argument about free speech, but most people recognize that like lying to people is probably not great free speech, or there should be rules or regulations around that. And I'm wondering what state and federal governments can do to highlight platforms that people should be going to. I know in our state, we have like a website that if people need abortion information, there's like a state funded website that people can go to, but that doesn't exist elsewhere. So where are places that we can highlight and create more information available to people so that way they can sort through the noise?
I like this. What I've also been as the tech person, the tech policy person, a lot of the center of gravity of a lot of this stuff has left the United States. Like, these are platforms that are also out overseas. There's a different set of regulations, and on the platform level, it is exactly what Regina was, communicated, is like our culture makes the language, our culture creates the stigma, and that is stuff that's the platforms are responding negatively to. So we can't wait for our culture to change. We do actually have to incentivize them to change the fucking platforms. Okay, cool. So I talk to Regina about this question a lot, and this is where we're going to land the plane on. Is how are you sourcing hope right now? What gives you hope for the future?
Sourcing hope.
I would say, I've mentioned that I wanted to become a parent. I am. I have two babies, a 2.5-year-old and a 6.5-year-old, and truly, being able, like, just focusing on them gives me hope, because they have no idea. Like, so much is going to change before they come to their knowing of all of this.
Guys, you mean the left doesn't abort all their babies? I was assured by conservative influencers and Tim Pool that the left aborted all their kids and that eventually leftism would die out because the left is just aborting all their kids. Are you telling me the left is both getting abortions and then later choosing to have kids? Wow. It's almost like they're raising another generation of good little leftists.
World and policy and all those things. And until they get to that place, they are just looking at the trees and playing with the dirt and want to go on the swing and making funny jokes and like all of these things. And like, truly, I think getting in this moment where it feels like we have no control and there's all this chaos, like just going back to the basics of our humanity, and whether that's with my children or with my friends or with my husband or with the people I love, like everyone, my mom, any opportunity that I can do that, to just be away from the technology and like just be in the presence of people and remind myself that we are all still here, even as the world is shifting, helps me to feel like I have a better sense of how to get through all of this difficult stuff.
Yeah, I would say like my cat Obo wanted to say hi to us. So
Hi,
I think
Cat.
she was bringing me
Hello,
some
Cat.
joy. Yeah,
Hello,
so I think just
cutie.
like friends, family, community. I think particularly thinking about Luminosis, it's something that we've built from the ground up because we've had support from other folks that knew that this was a thing that we needed and knew that it was something that they wanted to be part of. So like the logo that you saw earlier was a pro bono design from a design artist that like just heard what we were doing and was like, hey, can I do your graphic design work? Like incredible generosity that is poured out to get this clinic up and running has been so heartwarming. And I think it just shows that like people want to like roll up their sleeves and do the work and get in there. And people just need the opportunity. They just need to figure out kind of like, what is my lane and how can I get involved and, use my expertise and my gifts to be able to do that, whatever that is. And there's a space for you. And so I'm excited for anyone that's part of this conversation that wants to do this in some way, whether it's having the conversation with family, whether it's donating, whether it's, being on the front lines and talking to their, policy people. There's a space. And I think we can't do it without everyone, getting involved. So I think that's really getting me excited. We're talking about it more. We're getting more involved now than we ever have around abortion. So I think we're going in a good direction. We just have to keep going.
I love this. Keep going. Both of you are sources of hope and joy for me. And I'm really thankful for both of you for, one, doing the work that you do, leading the way that you lead, and also just being my friends. I really appreciate you taking your time and putting on your nerdy tech hats and showing up and helping my peers and my colleagues be better builders and collaborators and world builders together. And I'm so thankful that we're going to be able to keep building with you. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a few weeks in July.
All right.
And
that's it. Well, I think that presentation was actually even better than I thought it was going to be at the outset. I'm going to be honest, I didn't quite expect them to be talking about their secret signal groups where abortion providers are illegally referring people to physicians out of state so that they can mail them their abortion pills, and talking about maintaining the secret recordings of these secret Zoom calls you have when you are advising people illegally. I wasn't expecting quite that, but am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised because I have watched these people for a long time. I've watched a lot of abortion videos like this, and they usually end up saying crazy shit like that. Guys, guess what? This is not the last stream I'm going to do today. This is but the first stream. I will be going live at 9 p.m. for an episode of Disenrage, which is a show about spirituality and a nice break on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. with Jennifer. And tonight at 9 p.m., just to give us a break from the abortion discussion, we will be talking about parallel universes and if another version of us exists in a parallel universe. That is at 9 p.m. tonight. Spartan over on Rumble sent chatwithcharlie.org. That is one of the links they were talking about. This is the chat bot. It gives you click only options, no ability to type stuff. Well, we'll look into that another time. So if you guys want to do spirituality fun time with us, please come back to the channel in a little over an hour and we will do spirituality fun time. I am going to go make some clips now. I'm going to go make some clips of that abortion stream and try to get it on the internet before the 9 p.m. stream. And hopefully I will do that. But I want to thank everyone who donated to support the stream today. Special shout out to Old Sub, who donated 50 channel memberships. We got 20 from Great Otis. We got 20 from Tolkien Fan. I'm pretty sure Old Sub also donated another 5 at the beginning. So Old Sub up to 55. We got so many donors. I think Malcolm threw 10 in there and a super chat on top of it. Thank you to everyone who donated channel memberships today. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats. You guys allow me to do what I do. I cannot do it without you. Welcome to the 122 new members. We also got some member donations over on Rumble today. So I appreciate that, guys. Thank you for funding my work. Because if you guys don't do it, ain't going to get done. Because it's just the way it is. We have to maintain our independence, guys. We have to maintain our independence from all of the political bullshit, because that is the only way that we are going to be able to provide the best information objectively on the far left in the country right now. You're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do. I love it more than anything. I will take a little bit of a break, go make some clips, and I'll be back in about an hour. See you guys then, and if you don't want to come to Spirituality Fun Time, we'll be back again at 5 p.m. tomorrow, where we will do it all over again. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.